Winning cures everything. Now for your hosts, Gary and Chris.
Welcome in, Winning Cures Everything. It is the Wednesday, January 26th edition of the show. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
And we have got some games to pick today. That's right, the AFC and NFC championship games are this weekend. We will be discussing those right off the top. But along with that, there is quite a bit of news going on in college football, in the NFL, etc. We're going to hit all of that after we give the picks. And I'm going to wait until after we actually give out picks to do the rundown. Chris, everything going well with you, my friend?
Yeah, man. Yeah, just running all over this crazy state of ours.
I can certainly understand that. The tri-state area as it is, you constantly driving, man. You are constantly busy. So that's the way that it goes.
The store has slowed that down a whole lot, but a couple of days a week now, I've still got to do the flooring stuff. So that's what's paying the bills right now. So that's what we're going to do.
Now that certainly makes sense. Let's go ahead and dive into these things. We don't want to take people's time too much. We'll start off with the AFC title game. This one is at 2 p.m. Central Time on CBS. And, my friend, the Cincinnati Bengals heading to Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are a 7-point favorite. Regular juice on it, minus 110. Total is 54.5. Of course, the odds always brought to you by BetUS. That is where the game begins. Okay,
what did you say the number was? I heard the minus 110.
It's 7. Chiefs favored by 7.
Okay.
Yeah. Favored by 7. Total is 54.5. When I look at this, so we talked on the Monday morning show about our guesses for this, and I thought that it would be closer to 5.5 or 6. As I went back and looked, if you throw in home field advantage, all that good stuff, the line is exactly where it should be. I mean, it is dead on the number. Let's go through some of these matchup breakdowns, okay? EPA per play, Cincinnati offense is number 11 against the Kansas City defense, which is number 24. Drop back EPA, so passing EPA, Cincinnati offense is number 7 against the number 23 defense for the Chiefs. And rushing EPA. Neither one of these teams really rushes the ball all that much. But, Cincinnati number 21, Kansas City's defense is number 18. On the opposite side, Kansas City number 1 in EPA per play, Cincy's defense number 11. Drop back EPA, Kansas City number 1, Cincy number 12 on defense. Rushing EPA, Kansas City actually number 10, and Cincinnati's defense is number 15. Cincinnati is average at just about everything on the field other than passing the football, right? They are really good at throwing the football. But when you look at last week's game between the Chiefs and the Bills were great in almost every defensive statistical category, and they still could not stop Patrick Mahomes. In this situation, I thought really hard about going with the Bengals here, but man, it seems like Kansas City has turned this thing on offensively, and I don't know that Cincinnati will be able to keep up. I think it's going to be a barn burner. I would certainly lean to the over 54.5, but man, I think I'm going to ride with the Chiefs. Like, they have been on fire here lately, and I can't ignore that. As much as I want to pull against them, I think my money's going to have to be on Kansas City.
So I am going to obviously go with the Bengals.
Of course.
I think this offense can score with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs getting stopped sometimes is a little smoke and mirrors, and a little bit luck. And I could be wrong about that. Now, this Chiefs defense is a little touch and go here. They are really good at turning the football over. They are not always good at stopping people. And that is one of those situations where if you get the turnovers, it's easy to win games. And if you don't, you can kind of get blown out. So there's a gamble there. Patrick Mahomes just does not the football over, but that doesn't mean other people don't fumble. And man, I just think. Look, we watched this game a couple of weeks back, by the way.
Yes.
And Cincinnati won that game. Okay? So the idea that people think, because there's a large section of the public believes Cincinnati doesn't even belong in this game, and that the Chiefs are just going to roll them. And that could happen, all right? But the idea that, these two teams played just a few weeks back, not at the beginning of the season, just a few weeks back. And so I know that game was at Cincinnati. I don't know that home field advantage is just going to matter at all.
I mean, it certainly did not last week, right? We saw 3 of the road teams go on the road and actually get wins. So, I don't know that it's certainly home field advantage. It's normally baked into numbers. But, man, when I look at this, I'm having a hard time going against the Chiefs right now, although I am going to be pulling for Joe Burrow. I will certainly say that. So that's the way that I'm leaning. I'll roll Chiefs. You will roll Cincinnati on this. Let's move to
hang on. Can I talk about this 1 second? I want to talk about this game. There's
Absolutely.
one other factor that nobody's bringing up here, okay? And that is if you take Tom Brady out of this equation, if you take the Patriots and what they did for 20 years out of the equation, okay? And I know that, that's asking a lot, and that seems a bit extreme and whatever. We're assuming that the Chiefs are going to make it to 4 straight Super Bowls.
This would be the 3rd straight.
Oh, 3rd straight Super Bowl. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
the
4th straight
last one was the
championship.
AFC title game they lost.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, three straight. I mean,
that's a lot of big assumptions. And I know that they're the heavy favorite. And I know that is the easy assumption if you've watched them play. But I've just been watching football for almost my entire life. And we just don't see this very often. We saw one team do this. And so if the ball's going to bounce funny and go the other way, if the call is going to go wrong, if, so many weird things happen in a football game to make one team win and the other team lose, to just work under the assumption that the quote-unquote better team is always going to win, football's just not the game you want to play for that.
You are not wrong about that. We obviously saw it last week multiple times, at least with the home field teams, right? I think you could maybe make the statement that the 49ers, when fully healthy, could be a better team than the Packers. The Rams, when fully healthy, better team than the Bucs,
No. No, you can't do. You can absolutely do that with the Rams. 100%, the Rams beat the Bucs head up earlier in the season. That argument can be made. There's no argument that you can make with the Rams, with the Packers team and the 49ers team, that the 49ers weren't head and shoulders beneath them. They were substantially less than them. If everybody's 100% healthy, not happening. And you just can't make that argument, Gary. You just can't. The Packers were undoubtedly the best team in the league all year long in both conferences.
Yeah, okay. Maybe. I look at total DVOA. I'm looking at numbers. I'm looking at, all that. And I think...
I watch football. I don't do any of that shit. I watch football. And I'm here to tell you, that Packers team is substantially better than everybody else. And they were their body of work all year long. And it wasn't close, quite I have.
Okay. I can get with you. All right, so the Chiefs' offense that has been awesome. Just absolutely awesome since about week 4.
Unstoppable.
Would that be the best offense in football, you feel?
Yeah. And I don't think anybody's arguing that.
Okay, so that's where I'm going with this.
But hang on. It ain't since about week 4. Okay, it was about week 7 or 8.
Yeah, when they really started clicking in. Because
right. I made a large sum of money at the beginning of the season just with them just not being able to cover a game, and everything was tight and everything was close.
True. And even when they played against Cincinnati later on in the year, when they lost, on the road, they still put up 31 points in that game. They still had opportunities to win that game. Their defense has been their Achilles heel, and maybe that's what this will be. Like, maybe the offensive line will protect. Who knows? But like I said, I'm going to ride with the Chiefs right now in playoff mode. Of course, Joe Burrow, undefeated in playoff games. That includes bowl games, anything. Any kind of postseason game, Joe Burrow has not lost. So we shall see. Since he is +7, you are riding with the Bengals. I'm riding with the Chiefs. Let's move over to the NFC championship game, and that is at 5:30 p.m. Central Time on Fox. The 49ers head to SoFi Stadium to take on the Rams. Rams are a 3.5-point favorite, juiced at even money. If you want to take the favorite, if you want to take the 49ers, that would be minus 120. So you were giving up quite a bit of juice there. Total is 46.5 on this one, Chris. And, 49ers beat them twice this season, 31-10 back in week, 10, I believe? And then in week 18, the 49ers beat them in L.A. in overtime, 27-24. And let's go through some of the matchups here. EPA per play, 49ers offense is number 9, Rams defense 6. Drop back EPA, number 8 for the 49ers offense, number 6 for the Rams defense. And rushing EPA, 49ers number 9, Rams defense is number 10. On the opposite side, the Rams offense, number 7 in EPA per play. The 49ers defense is actually number 12. The Rams drop back EPA, number 3 in the National Football League. The 49ers defense is only number 19 against the pass. And on the other side, the Rams offense, number 27 in rushing EPA. They were not able to run the ball hardly at all this season. And with that, the 49ers defense is number 3 in rushing EPA. It's a bit of a mismatch because the Rams are not going to be able to run the football in this game, which I think is what has happened in the earlier 2 games. The 49ers can focus on that passing attack and finding ways to disrupt it. The number to me should be closer to 2 here. So I am certainly going to ride with the 49ers at plus 3.5. It just seems like too much. And even with the juice, I think it's the better bet. But I worry about this because obviously the Rams are so incredibly talented. You and I have talked about this. So give me your thoughts here. I'm going to ride with the 49ers. I think they can win the game outright. I mean, they've already done it twice. I think this is going to be a tight ball game.
I think it's going to be a tight ball game. I think it's going to be a lower scoring ball game, as all good 49er games are. And I think we got really good Stafford last week because they just couldn't get pressure on him. The Bucs couldn't. I don't think the 49ers are going to have a problem getting pressure on Stafford. I think we're going to have a tough Stafford game. I will take the 49ers as well. I'll give you the pick now. This is just your classic case of a team of superstars coming together trying to win a championship real quick. And, that shit works in baseball and basketball. It rarely works in football or baseball. And, got a lot of stars. They got a lot of fanfare. But right now, LA is trying desperately to keep 49er fans from buying up tickets. And 49er fans are putting out a publicity of red out LA. And they are going to fill the stadium with 49er fans. And you know what? I think we're going to get, at best case scenario for the Rams, we're going to get 50-50.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. They did this in Week 18. Now, obviously, the Rams already had their playoff.
That was a regular season game, and this another. So you got to assume that the Rams are going to have fans that show up for a playoff game. But how many people live in L.A. that grew up 49er fans, that grew up Montana fans, that all are adults now in the prime of their life and have disposable income to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands of dollars in L.A. to try to go to a football game, a playoff game?
Well, and you and I have talked about this.
I guarantee the majority of those are 49er fans because the majority of that age group of Rams fans, the Rams were in St. Louis their entire life.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. We've talked about this. How many LA fans are actually Rams fans? You have to be a child of the 70s and the 60s to know the Rams in LA. Oh, yeah.
But you've got more Raiders fans. If you're a child of the 80s or 90s or early 2000s, you don't know the Rams of LA.
No. You only know the Raiders. That's your thing. Yeah. LA is a Raiders town.
But you also follow the other, like I know a lot of people that are in the LA area, grew up in the LA area, whatever. And there's a lot of Charger fans. There's a lot of 49ers fans. There's a lot of Raiders fans. There were almost zero Rams fans.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so you were taking the 49ers. I am taking the 49ers. The 3.5 just seems like it might be too much. This feels like a field goal game for sure. Hopefully, it will be as good as all of the games were last week. That's what I'm hoping for.
Before we get into the news, I want to bring up one thing that I saw today, and this just makes me laugh and it makes me smile so much. Odell Beckham in his contract, the Rams owe him $750,000 as part of his deal for this year. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And he negotiated. He played the majority of the season, or most of the season, in Cleveland and whatever, and they're responsible for the bulk of it and all that jazz. Anyway, $750K is his salary for this year. Okay. He negotiated it all in Bitcoin, and as of right now, Odell Beckham this year, if he held on to all his Bitcoin as he's been paid, he's around $200K for the year. I know a guy that runs a pizza place here in Memphis that's going to make more than Odell.
No, I mean, Odell's obviously got endorsement contracts and everything else.
I'm
he'll be
telling
fine.
you, on his salary for playing football, I got a guy that runs a pizza joint.
That makes more.
That's going to make more than him. All right. Okay. And some of that's because it's not just Bitcoin is just tank and all that stuff, as many things have dropped. It's also to take into effect to get to that $200K he's netting is the 50.3% in taxes that the beautiful state of California imposes.
Oh yes.
That here in Memphis you don't have a state tax.
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of people don't realize when these players negotiate that their contracts be paid in Bitcoin, it first has to be paid in U.S. dollars, and then it is converted. Right. So the tax money has to come
here's
out.
The thing. That's the shit part. No. That's right. He's being taxed for the whole $750.
Oh, yeah.
He's not being taxed on the for whatever it is if it was just Bitcoin. No. Damn, I didn't think of that.
Oh, yeah. No, it has to first be because it's,
It might be less than $200K then.
It literally might be. It literally might be because he's being taxed for that whole $750. It's
he's taxed on the whole $750.
This crypto stuff.
I forgot
man.
it. Oh, so that's the math I didn't do. Anyway, look, Odell's a great player. He's also a goofball, and this is just one of those things I just thought was funny. I saw it and I thought it was funny, and I thought, man,
everybody thinks they can find a way to get ahead of the system.
Well, nobody's getting away. Listen. Remember, I went on the rant about being an anarchist a while back? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You start taxing people at 50% of my labor, ooh, brother. Ooh, you better bring a big stick to come get that check. Okay? I'm just telling you.
I love it. Let me go ahead and do the rundown right quick since we did not start off with that. The website, winningcureseverything.com. Go and check out everything you need to know about us over there, the podcast, the videos, etc. Every segment, everything you need to know to subscribe, etc. We'll be right there, winningcureseverything.com. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, please do so. You can leave a nice 5-star written review over at Spotify and Apple Podcast as well. The YouTube channel. Brother, we are ever so close. Lifetime views, we are less than 20,000 away from hitting 1 million. So if everybody would please kindly go over to the YouTube page, watch as many videos as you possibly can, help us get to that mile marker. We are almost to 5,500 subscribers as well. So share the show out. Tell your friends, jump into the comments. We would love to hear everybody. And if you're watching this right now, make sure and like the video for us. And of course, subscribe. That certainly helps out with the algorithms and all that good stuff. The show is brought to you by BetUS. Every single time out, they are America's premier online sportsbook. Go over to BetUS.com. It is where the game begins. Tons of bonuses right now. There is a link in the description if you just want to click on that. That'll make it 10 times easier for you. So go ahead and click over there, BetUS.com, where the game begins. Also, I host the BetUS College Football Show every Wednesday during the postseason. We'll call it the postseason and then the preseason because there is no offseason. You guys know how this works. But the BetUS College Football Show is still rocking and rolling all through the quote-unquote offseason. We'll say that, whatever. Postseason, preseason. Let's dive into the first big topic of the day, and that would be Sean Payton, the head coach of, well, I guess now former head coach of the New Orleans Saints, has announced that he is stepping away from the Saints job, as in he is leaving. The article headline over at WDSU, which is down in New Orleans, said Sean Payton set to announce retirement. And then it goes through, Chris. It says Sean Payton announced his retirement Tuesday in a news conference. And then they go back on it, right? It says Payton spoke with the media announcing he is stepping away from the team as head coach. He addressed media rumors of him taking a job in broadcasting or another head coaching job, and he stopped short of calling his move retirement or labeling his decision at all. He said, "I don't know what is next." So this is very interesting because he's only 58 years old. He has been coaching, though, since 1988. So he's been at this for quite some time. This is it's strange. He's leaving $45 million on the table. He was highly compensated. He has a contract through the 2024 season. It's hard to walk away from $45 million, but man, it's been tough.
Yeah, for 3 years of work.
Yeah,
$45 million for 3 years of work.
It's been a hard road for the last 2-3 years for them, trying to figure out what Drew Brees was going to do, and then he thought he had his quarterback, and Taysom Hill has not been exactly what Sean Payton, I guess, labeled him as. It's strange that he would leave right now. Again, he's only 58 years old. He has had COVID twice, so he's had to be away from the team for that. He's had some other medical stuff go on. It's just all kind of different stuff going on with him over the past however many years. Give me your thoughts here. I don't know what to make of this.
Yeah, I was curious, is this a retirement or is this I'd like to do something else, be with another team? Because this is a long time to stay with a team, right? You just don't have coaches last that long with the organization. What he has done is not normal, okay? What Bill Belichick has done in New England is not normal. It's normal for guys to be at a place for 5 to 10 years. And then at some point in time, they find a new home doing something else, being somewhere else. Fresh start, new challenge. Everybody's wanting to build something differently. So I don't begrudge him or think that there's anything weird or abnormal about this. It doesn't surprise me or shock me if he sits out and doesn't coach. That would be surprising. That would shock me. That I would not have believed was going to happen. So, I'm more curious now where it's going to end up and when he's going to end up there. So that's my thought. More than likely, I find it really funny, and I've made this shot. We talked about this recently. I brought up, Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys and how low paying Jerry Jones has been historically the head coaches and coaching staff.
Oh yeah,
and all the Cowboy fans immediately are like, "Well, he's going to be the next Cowboys coach," because him and Jerry do have a relationship.
Yeah, okay? No, he was the quarterbacks coach in 2004 through 2003 through 2005.
Yeah,
I think.
No, and they've seemingly had a pretty nice relationship for a while. I remember after they won the Super Bowl, they were at some super high-end steakhouse restaurant, whatever. And there's this giant Magnum bottle of wine brought in just for Jerry Jones. And Sean Payton was like, "Oh, that's Jerry's?" He was like, "Yeah, Jerry's coming in next week." And he was like, "Nope, we're going to drink that wine." And so Sean and his party drank the wine. They bought the wine. They drank the wine. And then he signed the bottle with a letter to Jerry. So this isn't just a we used to work together relationship. These two men know one another.
Yes.
Okay? And they seemingly like one another. But let me tell you something. Jerry Jones has never paid more than $4 million a year in his life to a head coach. Okay? It ain't that he don't have the money. He's just never thought it was important enough to spend it on his position. And if you think he's going to ratchet it up to 10 from 4, you're insane. And if you think Sean Payton is going to work for less money because he likes Jerry, I also believe you are insane.
Oh, most certainly. I just don't see any way that happens. $45 million over the next 3 years. You're talking closer to 15.
That's what he's definitely not leaving for less. And he might take less. So, let's say the next guy signs it, he wants a new try, whatever, and they sign him to an $8-9 million deal. That's a long road to hoe to get from 4. And it's funny because we're talking about a guy that's a billionaire, okay? That $4 million Jerry doesn't even know, right? Like every day the Dow goes down another notch, he loses 100 times that. But he's just never. So it's not that he doesn't have the money. It's trying to convince someone. And this is what I talked about last time I brought it up, and then I'll kind of quit beating this dead horse. It's trying to convince somebody who's been wealthy and successful for so long in their life that something that they don't think is important is now really actually important.
Yeah, you have a very valid point. He felt like he could just pull a Mike McCarthy off the scrap heap, and look, they were successful this year.
He did the same thing with Jason Garrett for a decade. So this is not just a Mike McCarthy thing, okay?
Oh, yeah, no, agreed.
Jason Garrett was a coach for a long, long, long time, and he was not that very good of a coach.
No, he was.
But he just didn't
coach.
value the head coaching position. He didn't think they were losing or winning games because of the coach, because he doesn't think the coaching matters.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I don't know that. I've never heard Jerry say that. I've never talked to Jerry.
I think it's just been proven, right?
It mattered.
Yeah.
You think a guy worth billions and billions of dollars wouldn't actually invest in the position if he thought it mattered.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. The longest tenured head coaches, by the way, Belichick, of course, number 1. He's been there since 2000.
Yeah, not close. That's not.
Sean Payton was number 2, 2006.
Right. Sean Payton was number 2, and that's abnormal.
You got it. Hey, can you name 3, 4, and 5?
Oh, Jesus. I bet they're not very long. Andy Reid's got to be up there coming up soon.
Well, Andy Reid is 6.
5.
Let's see. Number 5 is Pete Carroll. So
Pete Carroll's been at Seattle longer than Andy Reid's been at Kansas City.
Andy Reid and Kansas City was 2013. Pete Carroll and Seattle was 2010.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So
that's not as long as I thought.
So now we're looking for 3 and 4.
I don't want to do the boring thing and just
you'll know these. You'll know.
I'll know them, but I'm just not thinking of them, and I'm driving. And I'm just trying.
How about this? It's a rivalry in a division that you know really well.
Oh, it's John Harbaugh and oh my God, my brain just
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin, yeah.
Tomlin was 07 and Harbaugh was 08. So,
and I'm gonna bet after you get by Pete and Andy, I'm gonna bet it goes down. Like, nobody's been in the job longer than 5 years. Oh, no,
number 7 was Sean McDermott, and then number 8 is Sean McVay, and then Kyle Shanahan is number 9.
Yeah, that group of guys all got hired on 5-6 years ago.
All of them were in 2017.
Okay, yeah, right on the nuts. 5 years.
Pretty insane.
Yeah.
You going back?
No, what Sean Payton has done. This is why I don't think this is a like. I've got a lot of Saints friends in my life, and they are all like they feel. Some of them, not all of them, some of them feel very like blindsided by this and very like angry or upset and like he did us wrong. I'm thinking he did this job for a long. One day, Bill Belichick is going to say, "I don't want to do this anymore." And even if he left and then went to another team to try to do something else for a couple years, like that's fine. It's fine. He's been here for 20 years. How long do I owe? Like, how long does he owe me before like he can leave without me being angry?
Yeah. No, I think you're 100% right. I've got 3 more topics that I want to hit on. Let's do this one. And obviously these don't have to be long. Arizona State has hired Brian Billick, former Baltimore Ravens head coach, as an offensive analyst and advisor to head coach Herm Edwards. So all of that talk in the offseason, or I guess the preseason before college football this year, about whether or not Arizona State was going to keep Herm Edwards, I think we have certainly gotten our answer. Like, they're going to have to get rid of some guys due to show causes and whatever else. There's still some guys that are suspended on administrative leave for a while. But you know, they've already got Marvin Lewis, who is also an advisor to the head coach. Billick, 67 years old. He's been an analyst for NFL Network for a while. This is, it's turning into an NFL program at Arizona State. This is a bit of a strange move, but it's certainly turning into like a cush retirement job for some of these old NFL heads, right? Does this surprise you at all?
I don't know how cush of a job it is. I'm gonna bet Billick's gonna end up being responsible and working harder at this than he was at the
Oh, at NFL Network for sure, but that's the thing.
NFL Network.
He and Lewis aren't actually they're not on staff coaches. They're just advisors. So they're sitting in an office and going over film basically.
Oh, they're analysts, okay?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And you understand what analysts are because you're a Bama fan. You know that that's bullshit. They're absolutely 100% coaching.
That's so that is the plan. They're not supposed to be on the field coaching everybody.
I understand that.
But yeah.
I understand that. But Nick Saban took an analyst that's supposed to have never had any contact with any player whatsoever, and in 1 week made him the OC of a national championship game. Okay? Now, do we think he did that without any, relationship at all with the players, with the coaches?
Let's steer this back onto Arizona State. Let's
okay.
go.
All right. Okay. I think this is a weird hire.
That's what I think.
Really, is Brian Billick? Is Brian Billick the direction of football that you want your program going?
He last coached with the Ravens in 2007.
Yeah.
So
I was in college still.
Yeah, I mean,
a long time ago.
That's 14 years. Well, no, I guess 15. 2022 now. I mean, the NFL is completely shifted over. Like Herm Edwards, when he was bringing in young upstart guys, that's when we thought Arizona State was, maybe headed in the right direction. But
here's the difference. He brought in those young upstart guys. He had a coup on his hands. Some of those guys were pretty ambitious and wanted his job.
True.
All right? And then he also got in a lot of NCAA trouble. So I guess now we'll bring in a bunch of old bastards who aren't creative at all, and they're just going to do whatever I tell them.
Yeah, I don't think that's wrong. Billick last coached in college football at Stanford in 1991. This is what his statement said. I love what they're doing at Arizona State. It's all about structuring the NFL, and hopefully that's what I can bring to the table at ASU. My work for the last 12 years in television at Fox and NFL Network has allowed me to take a step back and see the game from a different angle. It broadened my perspective, and this is what I will bring to this position.
Well, I hope it works because I like Herm. And I thought Herm being hired there was going to be a huge embarrassing failure, and he's been a million times better than I could have ever imagined or could.
Oh, so, yes. We were way wrong on him.
I hope Billick is an asset. And I hope Herm continues to have success at Arizona State because I like Herm in spite of the fact that it made me wrong. Like I just don't care. I like Herm.
I tend to agree. He's hey, I'm going through some stuff for the BetUS college football show. Herm as an underdog since he got there in 2018, 12-6 against the number. So and
that doesn't surprise me. I knew it was going to be a big number.
Oh yeah. No, he hadn't been an underdog often, but 12-6. I mean, that's 66%, man. That's somebody you can count on to cash for you. All right.
Well, 18 years and 18 games in 4 years. He's been an underdog.
I guess that'd be in. Is it 5 or is it 4? 2018, 19,
oh,
20,
shit,
21. Oh no, it's 4.
Years,
it's 4 seasons. 4 seasons. You're right.
Yeah,
so
18 times. 4 seasons, 18 games in 4 seasons, though. I mean, you're right.
Yeah, it's
that's not catching points many.
Nope, it's for Arizona State. It's definitely not many. It's maybe 4 times a year. So that's a little surprise. And they did not catch points very often this year. I definitely know that they were set up this year. Let's move on. Let's talk about Gary Patterson right quick. And you and I have not hit on this yet, but Gary Patterson has been officially hired as a consultant, advisor, whatever. He's supposed to be an off the ball or off the field analyst or coach, whatever, assistant to the head coach at Texas. And one, it's not the connection makes it not super surprising, right? Because Chris Del Conte is the athletics director at Texas. He was the AD that actually got TCU into the Big 12. So that connection has been there for a long, long, long time. But what made this move possible, because everybody knows how much Gary Patterson hated Texas. He hated Hook'em. He hates the Longhorns, all that. But when you feel like you have been slighted by the place that you have given your entire career to, for the most part, that's what makes a move like this possible, right? Because we all know how amped up he got his program for that Texas game. They beat Texas more than anybody else in the Big 12, other than maybe Oklahoma. And even then, I think he had a better record
I was
against
about to
Oklahoma.
say,
Yeah.
I would go look at those numbers.
Yeah,
Some
I think
of
he had a
those
better
mediocre
record.
teams beat Texas a lot. Beat Oklahoma a lot.
Yes. And so TCU, I mean, they got up for that, and we also know that they rarely covered before the Texas game and after the Texas game. Everything was about that Texas game for TCU for a very, very long time because Gary Patterson wanted to shove it right up their ass every time he played them. And now he is going to work for Steve Sarkisian, and Texas definitely needs some defensive help, right? Like TCU wasn't great this year on defense, but we all know what kind of a defensive mind Gary Patterson actually has. I think this move is specifically vitriol towards TCU. Do you kind of feel the same way?
Oh, this is 100%. This guy's going to work 3 weeks a year, and it's the 3 weeks leading up to TCU.
Yes, I think you're right. Do you think there's any chance they keep him off the field? This is another one of those like the Billick move. We were just talking about analysts, and they're not supposed to be on-field coaches.
Oh, no. Like, okay, he'll never officially be a coach on the field unless they get tired and want to fire Sark, and then he'll probably be the head coach that they name until they hire somebody else, like the interim guy. But officially, he'll never be that title. But no, he's 100% going to coach every day. That's what these guys do because the people who make these rules are morons, and they're cowards, and they're toothless. What are they going to do?
Well, the NCAA is completely restructuring, so I don't know of anybody that's going to come after them. You know?
No, nobody's going after anybody. And here's the thing. I don't have a problem with them not coming after you. I just want to make sure it's all across the board. Like, why have rules that you can't enforce?
Agreed, 100%. 100%. But I do love this. It was really, really weird when you see the pictures of Gary Patterson wearing official Texas gear. I mean, it's got the Longhorn right there on his pullover. I mean, it's just the weirdest thing you've ever seen. If you know what you know about Gary Patterson, right, which is how much he despised that program for the longest time. But you know, he respects Chris Del Conte. He respects CDC, and you know, you get an opportunity to go and play against TCU every year, at least for a little while, because obviously Texas will be moving over to the SEC sooner than later, we suppose. But yeah, I mean, you'll get a couple opportunities, we believe, to go after TCU, and that should be interesting. I cannot wait for the matchup this year. And finally, we'll close out on this one. LSU hype. Now, everybody was a little worried early on because nobody could really figure out exactly what was going on with Brian Kelly once he got to, because he's been the head coach since the end of November, early December. I mean, it's right after championship week, I believe. So early December, he has been the head coach in Baton Rouge, and everything moved incredibly slowly. The recruiting process early didn't take off, which obviously early signing day, it's kind of tough when you're a first-year head coach coming in. You've only been there for a couple weeks. But, I mean, you get Frank Wilson in there. He has built a hell of a staff, and the latest stuff right now, they have really attacked the transfer portal. They are number 2 in 247's transfer portal rankings right now, right behind USC. Again, he's hired a killer staff. He's got, I believe it's Corey Phillips coming over as a director of player personnel from NC State, and that is somebody that has SEC recruiting ties. He was a former high school head coach in Nashville. Hell of a hire again there. And all this stuff that's going on, obviously a lot of smoke around Caleb Williams right now with the LSU program. We thought it might be Texas A&M. Looks like it could be Caleb Williams. And Harold
I was
Perkins.
trying to say nothing about it.
Well, let me get through the rest of it. There's only one more. Harold Perkins, who is a 5-star linebacker, just decommitted from Texas A&M. He was a part of that big heralded recruiting class, but he did not sign back in December. And hey, all signs are pointing right now to LSU for him. I mean, this is what is going on down in Baton Rouge has been absolutely killer for that program here lately. This thing could pick up steam, even earlier if they are to land Caleb Williams. Give me your thoughts on your Baton Rouge Tigers.
No, I'm excited. I've tried really hard to not get. I texted you boys last night. Like, I've seen a couple of LSU guys saying, we're in the running for Caleb Williams, and I made it clear I am not even listening to it until I hear somebody with like legit bona fide credentials bring it up or talk about it. And it is an LSU beat writer, and so I take that for what it is. But he did point out in his report yesterday that I was texting you guys about that Caleb Williams was down due Oklahoma or LSU in his original recruiting last year as a freshman. And we were the other school he was going to go to if he didn't go to Lincoln Riley anyway. I think a lot of the hot seat with O ran him off. I think he made the smartest decision he ever could have made, going and playing under Lincoln Riley, and that's fine. I think if he goes and stays with Lincoln, that's great and good for him. But I've said this, every day that goes by is a bad day for USC.
Oh, most certainly.
Certainly. And I'm the one that brought up the A&M factor. Why would you not go to A&M if you're Caleb Williams and you're looking at the roster, you're looking at the talent, and they really are, I think they are a quarterback away from being a national championship team. I don't know if LSU is or not. I'd love to think that and hope that. Caleb Williams absolutely changes that, though. And you're right. What Brian Kelly's doing has me all kind of fired up and has me so excited for the direction of my program. We've got a guy in there that actually knows how to build a staff and how to run a program. He actually has a plan for all of these things. And the first thing that happened when he got there was everybody made fun of him. This guy from Boston who spent the last decade of his life in the Midwest is going to come into the SEC, not just the SEC, but in Louisiana, the most talent-rich state in the South per capita. And, these guys all need Louisiana kids to stay home. Oh, and how are you going to get a guy from Boston to do that? How and easily. I'm just going to hire everybody who is the big name person from here that's really good at their job.
Yes. It's kind of easy to do when you look at it that way, right?
like he didn't have – here's the best thing about it. He didn't have any ego to him whatsoever. I'm bad at this. I'm going to go get that guy. He did the same thing at Notre Dame, by the way, okay? What was hurting him at Notre Dame was he finally made a BCS title and a couple of playoffs. And he realized my best recruiting is not getting these guys. I have to go out and get an elite recruiter. And he did. And he went and got a DC from Cincinnati that is an absolute elite recruiter in Marcus Freeman, okay? And he understands what his flaws are more than he understands, what he's good at. I think that's in value. I just think that's in value.
Oh, it most certainly is. It most certainly is. What he has done in Baton Rouge thus far, what you've had at LSU is Les Miles and Ed Orgeron, two guys that are a lot of fun and really fun guys to cheer for and to pull for. But the further you get away from when Nick Saban kind of came in and revitalized the program and kind of gave some structure, the further you get away from that, you've seen all the things that have happened.
It's been 15 years of no structure.
Right.
It's been head coaches that know how to recruit. They know how to rah-rah guys. They know how to get you fired up. They can sell the shit out of you.
Oh, yeah.
But they do it with flash, and they do it with mannerisms, and they do it with, Ed Orgeron. I love Ed to death. Ed Orgeron going to wrestle an alligator and break his jaw and put a worm in his mouth, and people are going to think, this is a crazy son of a bitch that I want to play for. But there's nothing to that's just performative. Like that doesn't actually do anything. How are you making us better? Well, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and I'm gonna whoop a man's ass and I'm gonna that's all fun and that's all great and it works on 17 and 18-year-olds. But at some point in time, I need to know your plan. Well,
and there was no plan.
Sometimes waking up and whooping a man's ass ain't really the plan you think it is.
Exactly. Who knows? Who knows? And
it's fun.
Yeah,
it's great when we have the arguments about whose coach can kick whose ass. It's always fun to be on top of that. Now I'm going to bet we're on the bottom of that in the SEC. But if we win football games, I don't care.
Exactly.
I needed my coach to be able to beat your coach's ass. I needed him because we couldn't beat you on the field.
It's a lot more fun to win ball games than it is to win arguments, right?
Yes. Yes. And here's the thing. Let's be real careful about this. I have no idea where LSU is on the pantheon of what we look like next year. I don't know how much of any of this is going to work. I don't know how much any of these guys are ready that he's bringing in. I don't know. I know this. At defense, we are completely inept right now at linebacker and secondary. I've never said that before in my life of being an LSU fan since I was in the 9th grade. Never said those words. Okay? But right now, if we had to go play a football game this week, we do not have enough guys that are capable of playing at a Division I level at the linebacker or secondary position.
I think you've got enough guys to play D1 level. I don't think you've got enough to play SEC level, and that's the problem, right?
Oh, I don't. I would worry about the Memphises and you know.
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely.
The Fresno State. Like I'm telling you, it ain't just SEC, and it ain't just P5. I would worry considerably about those games, but we don't play next week. That's the beauty of it. We don't play next week. I'm okay. We're all right.
Hey, you know who LSU opens with, right?
Oh God, yes. And I'm not looking forward to. I'm looking forward to next year.
You brought up Memphis. Breath. It's for anybody listening. It's Florida State in the Superdome. Yeah. So
no, I will hold my breath. Here's the thing. I think we're better than Florida State right now. I think we've been better than Florida State for a while. I don't know how long we're going to be better than them unless all of this that Brian's doing works.
I have high hopes. We'll say that. The hype right now
I do too.
is really good. But I do believe it's going to take a little bit of time to get everything fully gelling the way a championship program operates. And we've seen this with even the best of coaches. Is it takes 2 to 3 years to really get things up and rolling. And, Nick Saban won his first national title at Alabama in his 3rd season, but he had it turned around in year 2, and that's kind of what I'm expecting here. I think
I don't think with the transfer portal you've got to do that anymore, though. I mean, we just saw Mel Tucker walk into one of the worst coaching situations possible, and in one full season the next year, he's in legit competition for the Big Ten title.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Right, he did it in his 2nd season. I think Brian Kelly's 2nd season is when you'll really, really see strides. They're going to beat somebody that they probably shouldn't beat this year, and they'll lose to somebody that they probably shouldn't lose to. And that's the way these first years
once
go.
Again, that's all pending on talent. If they end up getting Caleb Williams, Gary, I don't know that.
You have a point.
I think with the transfer portal, they can solve the linebacker position and the DB position and by signing day, and we're fine. Like I'm not saying we're going to win the national title, but I'm just saying we're now in legit competition to win games now. Like 10-win seasons are realistic if we can make that move. Without him, oh no, yeah, they could win 9 games, they could win 4 games. I don't know.
I will tell you this: they will not be 4-8 this year. I think the floor is 6-6. I think there's a chance they could end up 11-1 somewhere around there. So
the SEC is just so tough right now, Gary.
Oh, it is.
The SEC,
yes.
So Arkansas is not going backwards. Like we took. I've got an Arkansas friend that was giving me shit because LSU took 2 secondary guys from them in the transfer portal. But then they took our best starter. The thing is, we got 2 guys that are going to fight, and I think they're going to be potential starters or a lot of playing time. You just took a first-round draft pick. All right, which one would you rather have?
True.
The 2 guys that might play, or the guy that's going to play on Sundays if he doesn't get hurt.
I'm 100% with you. Yes, I'm 100% with you. But at the same time, as good as Arkansas was this year, even a beaten down LSU team still was within 3 points of them. I mean,
but I think we're going to be within 3 points of everybody, though, Gary.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think the SEC is going to be that. I mean, I just don't see a lot of ass kickings, okay?
No.
I don't know what Ole Miss looks like because I think Matt Corral was so important to that team. I don't know what they're going to look like at all. but like I think State is going to be considerably better than they were. Like I think Auburn and Ole Miss could take a step back, but I think everybody else is taking a step forward. And when we were DFL in the SEC West, especially, like, okay, like all right, we might step over two guys that beat us, but that's not a real hard hill to climb.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. The last thing I'll say, the latest on Caleb Williams, Wisconsin hired Bobby Ingram, who's the tight ends coach from the Baltimore Ravens, as their new offensive coordinator. Billy Embody, who covers LSU and SMU for On3.com, he posted, not that anybody should really care, but very interesting turn here. I switched my crystal ball pick to Wisconsin for Caleb Williams. He said, Badgers hiring Bobby Ingram is expected to turn things to them. Crazy. So we'll see about that.
Now, like I said, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't see this kid going up to play Midwestern football. Like, I just don't see that. I don't see him. He wants to go somewhere that will help him in the NFL. Now, I don't know that Brian Kelly has a track record of putting quarterbacks in the NFL, but he's also never had a quarterback as good as Caleb Williams.
Agreed.
So that's a part of it. I'm just going to tell you that Wisconsin ain't where you're going to be a quarterback in the NFL. Okay.
Agreed. I think of it the exact same way.
You know my opinion.
Yeah.
I love Wisconsin. I think that head coach is going backwards. I think that program is going backwards. Now, maybe this OC hire will be a big deal and it will project them forward a lot. I love this team. This was the Big Ten team of my youth, man. This was the Big Ten team that I loved my whole childhood.
Oh yeah.
And I just don't like Paul Chris. I used to, but I've seen him regress.
I will tell you who does like Paul Chris, and that is Caleb Williams' dad. Has a fantastic relationship with Paul Chris. So we'll see. All this stuff is very interesting. Very, very interesting. So who knows where I would imagine
every day that goes by is a bad day for Lincoln.
Yeah, you got that right. If he does not announce USC by Friday, which would be the 28th, that is when classes start for USC. So we'll see. We'll see. If he doesn't announce by then I would imagine he will end up elsewhere. But as it is right now, I mean, I don't know where he's going to get into class early enough now. So like you and I know this. If he chooses Wisconsin or LSU, like getting him in a class ain't going to be hard. Okay, No,
these are state schools in like dumb states. Okay,
yeah,
this is not the Ivy Leagues here of academics. Now I know we all like to think that our schools are great academic institutions. They're not. All right, they're not. Some of them are. Some of them are highly rated as that, and I give them great credit for that. But for the most part, these state schools don't have that, and they can get anybody in anywhere they need.
You got that right.
I went to Ole Miss with guys that I could barely read, and I wasn't an athlete. I didn't bring anything to the table. Okay, I literally could read at like a fifth grade level, and I got into Ole Miss, and I did fun. Okay, I was in classes with athletes, baseball players, basketball players, football players that bona fidely could not read. They did just fine, by the way.
Of course, they all passed. I mean, some of them were on the academic honor roll, right? Like the academic All-Americans.
No doubt. So this is so when guys now Florida doesn't play those games. Michigan doesn't play those games. All right, and maybe they might start to, but they don't. But if you let's not kid ourselves about can we get him into school so he can whatever. Getting him into school ain't gonna be hard as long as he chooses to stay.
You got that right. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Here, we'll go ahead and end it there. Seems like a good spot, and that's going to get us to almost exactly an hour, so it's perfect. Chris, I will go ahead and let you go since you're on the phone. You don't have to listen to the outro and all that good stuff. So, brother, I appreciate you joining me today. I know it was a little crazy, hectic trying to get this thing done, but we got our picks in, and we got some news talked about.
Thank you for waiting on me. Thank you. Appreciate
Anytime,
you.
brother. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, so that was Chris. You guys have been fantastic. We certainly appreciate you again. Reach out to us on Twitter if you would like to. We always answer and respond to tweets and whatnot. I am at Gary WCE. Chris is at Chris B. Giannini. And, of course, there is the show's Twitter page, and that is at Winning Cures. You can find all of this over on the website, winningcureseverything.com. Again, the show is brought to you each and every time out by BetUS. It is where the game begins. It's America's premier online sports book. You can find it at BetUS.com. There's a ton of bonuses and deals and whatnot right now, so make sure that you go get signed up. There is a link in the description. You can click that and go and follow that. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast and make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube page. We are almost to 1 million lifetime views. We started this we started the YouTube channel in 2018. So we're talking 4 years, a little over 4 years, somewhere around there. It was about football season when we kicked this thing off in 2018. So not quite 5 years yet, but we are getting there. So make sure that you watch as many of these videos as you can. It certainly helps us out. Make sure that you are subscribed and that you like this video for us. Share it out. Share the show. Tell your friends about it. All that good stuff. And again, check out the BetUS College Football Show. I do that every Wednesday afternoon. Go over there and subscribe. There's a link in the description for that. With that said, you guys have been awesome. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And hopefully, all of your tickets cash this week. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review.